We are now live. And we already got some viewers. Super. Hi, Carl, Mitch. Cool. James. Yeah, any of you, come on aboard. Just, I think, I'm not sure if you have to have created a channel to join or not. I'm clicking on your various, I'm inviting a guest. There we go. I just invited James. And I'm inviting Carl. And I'm waiting, and I'm inviting Mitch. So I just invited 3 people already. See who shows up. Although I think there is a blocking. If you, in fact, I think I can only invite 1 person at a time. So I may have, when I invited Mitch, I may have knocked. Okay, so I'll try. So Mitch timed out. So I will invite Carl. And while we're at this, I'm going to pop over to tweet that this has started. See if I can do more than one thing at one time. And let's see. Yes, there's Carl. Cool. And I'm going to try James again. Nice to see you, Carl. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good to hear from you too, Chuck.
Yeah, and I can hear you clear as a bell. So we're waiting for, give me just a moment. This isn't really official for another 6 minutes. But I do want to pop over to tell people that it is starting. HITSM, NHIT week, Fire Talk. It is live now. And so I think I'm going to do a screenshot of what we have here of you and me so that people get a sense of what they're getting into. Capture. And, oops, I think I do that one again. And okay. And now I got to copy that. Copy that. Go over to Photoshop. I'm revealing some of my social media workflow here. So I can't actually see you right now. I'm looking in Photoshop. I'm saving the screenshot. And Fire Talk. And now I go back over. Oopsie daisy. Okay, and now I go to back to tweet chat and ft.jpg and choose. And okay, we're gonna let that go fly. Blah blah blah. And I'm on with Carl. So on now with Carl. And I'm not picking up your Twitter. What's your Twitter handle, Carl?
KW Kierstead.
Carl, KW Kierstead. There you are. Okay, we are going to tweet that out. You'll get mentioned here. Everything's okay. Super. All right, back to. Okay, so now I go pop back over to Chrome, and let's see who we got here. David Grayson. Is that okay? I'm going to go to flip to good morning, James Leatherwood. Ah, there's David Grayson. Okay, from New Zealand. Very cool. So I'm going to invite David Grayson.
Middle of the night.
And yeah, he shows up at a lot of these, and he's got a cute little dog, and I have a cute little dog. So we're frequently exchanging pictures of cute dogs.
Good morning.
And it says loading. Hello, David. How are you?
How are you?
Good morning. It's nice to. I miss you and Jimmy and all those folks. Yeah. By the way, Carl, David, I believe you are an ENT in New Zealand. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep. And it's 6 in the morning, so it's not night really.
Oh, 6 in the morning. Wow.
Yeah.
Not so bad.
And he's got his daughter, he periscopes his daughter at equestrian events and pretty scenes from New Zealand, which someday I want to visit. I want to spend 2 weeks. That's my dream vacation.
Great.
Is 2 weeks in New Zealand.
Great. We'll look after you.
And Carl, all right, I'm there. I'll stay at your house. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Bring your dog. Bring your dog.
All right, yeah. Well, then you get into international stuff. Although she travels really well. In fact, if I Jets,
Hey, Jets.
come here, Jets. Come on, Jets. Jets, come on. There we go. All right, so I'll bring up she has her own Twitter account, by the way.
Yeah.
This gal right here.
Yeah.
She has her own Twitter account. Health IT Dog, Twitter account and Instagram. And she doesn't know why I'm doing this. Here, look, doing this while we're okay. All right, we're down. Okay, now Carl, you're on the East Coast?
Yes, Montreal,
Oh,
Canada.
Oh, lovely.
That's right. You just I noticed, Carl. Now I can hear you fine, but your picture has disappeared, which is, part of how these social media things kind of like shift gears to
Well, I see myself, I see you, and I see David.
Oh, I see you. Okay, Cal.
Yeah, but the fact that you can see this guy, you think about all the jumps of the data. So you're closer to your data than we are. So we can hear you fine.
Okay, good.
Okay, let's see who else. Let's try. Anyway. So David, Carl is he's a business process management workflow technology guru.
Great.
Who's taken
wow.
an interest in healthcare.
Oh, great.
And he has
Great.
done
Wait,
some
he
really
lots of
interesting.
that
I think in behavior. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he's done. And I've had some fascinating discussions with him on Lab about his behavioral health workflow management solution system.
Right.
And now I'm going to. I'm sorry. I'm bouncing around. And I'm going to. So Mitch and James, feel free to request joining. In the lower right-hand corner, you should see a little camera. And if you click that, you can request to join us. So David, here we just finished a Health IT social media tweet chat. Actually, it's got 1 more minute to go. And for National Health IT Week. And I have actually the questions here. The questions have to do with, who inspires you and what trends. Oops, did I lose? I can still hear you. I got so many tabs open. Carl, are you familiar with National Health IT Week?
Not really. No, never heard of it.
Yeah. Well, let me just tell you, since it's supposedly I'm expecting to see Rasu Shrestha, who is Chief Innovation Officer at University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, and also possibly Michael Gaspar, who is sort of health social media for HIMSS, the Healthy Information Management System Society.
Great.
And we were co-hosting, co-moderating this tweet chat, in which and I think that it went by so fast that but the themes have to do with a combination of hope and frustration regarding empowering patients and better access to data. Now, let me speak. I'm treading water here just a little bit because if someone joins, there's Michael, and invite a guest. I'm invited Michael. So he can, in fact, now that he's coming on, I was about to tell you what National Health IT Week is, and if we can get Michael on, he's sort of the instigator of it.
Great. I'll tell you, Chuck, I'm really interested to see this. The blockchain thing is really growing.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Hi.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Chuck.
Awesome. Michael, I'm going to let David Grayson complete a thought. He is an ENT doc in New Zealand. It is 6 a.m. there. And I gave him I just gave a kind of a thumbnail of, not what National Health IT Week is, but just kind of like a gestalt of the tweet chat that just happened about patients empowering and access to data and things like that. But David, do you happen to remember the thought that we stepped on?
Oh, well, I was just saying, we talked a while back about the blockchain, we had an actual
Mhm.
chat about it, but I just see in terms of health IT in the US that's really growing as the concept being applied in healthcare. Obviously, it's already going big things in finance, but it's just really interesting to see how these things gather a bit of momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd say, and in fact, I sent Michael a blog post about blockchain and workflow.
Right.
But don't let me get started about workflow because I'll just start monopolizing. Michael, what now, as I understand it, the way FireTalk works, it's always recording. Okay, so and we are kind of right almost at the beginning. So Michael, could you just kind of explain to David Grayson, ENT doc from New Zealand, what National Health IT Week is?
Sure. So I can't tell you exactly how many years it's been, I guess, proclaimed to be a national celebration, but ultimately I would say it's just a platform to bring all the health IT stakeholders together to discuss some of the successes or opportunities that we see in the industry, and kind of listen on social and capture, some of the takeaways there and try to put those into action or a game plan for the rest of either the calendar or fiscal year, depending on whatever your business is. So we really try to use it as a launching off point for new ideation, alignment within the industry. And, from the HIMSS perspective, we're really interested in, what trends are emerging and what we need to be paying attention to better serve our members and the attendees of all of our events. And so that's pretty much it in a nutshell from our perspective. The one thing that we've added over the last few years is the iHeartHIT campaign, where we're really trying to humanize the efforts of health IT by extracting some of the more compelling, interesting, and sometimes hard to handle stories that come from anyone, either being a healthcare provider, a patient, a technologist, or anything that they've seen. And the response we've gotten there has really kind of been a catalyst for understanding what we need to do to course correct in the industry.
Great. So that's coming up next week, is it?
It's actually the end of it is today.
Oh.
Next year.
But I mean, the one thing you can take away is, there's a lot, like, follow the hashtag in HIT Week, iHeartHIT. We're going to be doing a lot of recap content to kind of, encompass the soul of what happened this year. So all of that content should be available on the HIMSS blog or the healthitweek.org website. So
because it's a big thing in any, all of the healthcare systems to have these weeks where you have, whether it's a patient safety week or a patient experience week, we're often in the hospitals. They do a lot of publicity and activities and things, but be kind of interesting. I'm not sure if I've seen the same for the health IT, which says something maybe.
Yeah,
you could be the instigator down there.
Go ahead, Chuck.
No, David could be the instigator of National Health IT Week in New Zealand.
Yeah, no, you're
I'm
right.
sure that HIMSS in their international outreach would be helpful, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Don't you think so much?
Well, I've yet to see a HIMSS Australia or HIMSS.
Well, there's a HIMSS Asia Pacific
Zealand
which covers us. HIMSS Asia.
Okay.
Asia
Oh, it does. Great.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't sure it went that far south of the equator.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Oh, great. I mean,
so David, is New Zealand a week ahead or a week behind the continental United States?
What are we? We're about 70 hours ahead of you, Chuck.
Okay, all right.
Oh, and Dr. Ross just let us know that he'll be keynoting at the HIMSS Asia Pac event next week.
Right. There you go.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm learning something new,
Carl,
even just about HIMSS and being a chat with you guys.
Carl, are you still there?
I'm here. I'm looking at you.
Okay. There you're looking. Yeah, we can't see you. And we've got about 9 viewers here, and I actually everybody who wants to be on, I want to get them on.
I'm happy.
And so yeah, well, I'm gonna kick you, David. You've kind of gotten your moment to shine.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
Yeah.
kick you off and,
Yeah,
and
that's great. I'll
pick
keep
someone
watching.
else. But David,
I'll keep
thank you very much. And yeah, hang
Yeah,
around and
you
watch,
bet.
and then I think this can go on for maximum of 90 minutes. If later on you're having coffee and you want to get back on and we've kind of petered out, please, because I actually want to talk to you about your puppy.
Yeah. So
about your dog,
that's good.
so.
And
Bye-bye,
I just
David.
learnt of another one of these things called house party, where you can have 8 people. Have you heard that one, Chuck?
8.
I'm going to write that down. I'm going to write that down, though.
Yeah, have a look.
House party. Thank you
I
very
haven't
much.
checked- I haven't checked it
I'm,
out yet.
I'm looking for. Okay,
House party, it's called.
party. I'm going to check that out immediately after. Okay.
All right. No
All right.
worries.
Bye-bye, David. Thank you. Stick around. And now let's go to Rasu. Invite guest. And we did a little test run about an
Awesome.
hour
Hey,
ago.
everyone.
Hello, Rasu. How
I'm
are
doing
you?
Great, thank you. Great job.
Just a quality.
And Michael.
Before we start here, just a quality check. I can hear Carl and Michael, but I can't see them. I can see you and hear you. What are other people seeing right now?
I see all 4.
Awesome.
I'm
I
good.
can see.
Okay, good.
I can see and
How
hear
about you?
everyone.
So you have a
Okay, so
problem, Chuck.
I'm the host. Yeah, it's on my end, but I can see me and I can see Rasu and I can hear all of you. I'm not sure when you came on, Rasu, but we just had an ENT doc from New Zealand, and Michael explained what National Health IT Week was to this guy, and he sounded like, gee, maybe he was going to start his own National Health IT Week in New Zealand. Rasu was just participating in the National Health IT Week HITSM, HITSM tweet chat. And I think you were certainly amongst the most prolific, especially when it came to images. I was just amazed that you were able to tweet and go off to Photoshop or whatever and create those images just in time, in real time.
I'm a radiologist.
To pull that off.
I'm all about images.
That's it. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, of course, a radiologist is amongst the most tech savvy of docs I can imagine. I can see an intersection there. So Rasu, I'm not an interviewer. I'm more of a techie programmer who likes this kind of stuff because it's kind of techie.
Yeah.
But so Rasu, what was your impression of the themes that emerged from the HITSM tweet chat?
Yeah, no, it was a great tweet chat. I think it was very well conducted, Michael. Thank you.
Thanks for participating, both of you.
No, absolutely. And the questions are spot on. I think it's important for us to just take a step back and reflect on where we are and where we need to be. And Carl, perhaps as you're considering doing something similar down under in New Zealand, or maybe spread that across Asia Pacific, I think it's a great opportunity for us to come together as a community and to reflect on where we are and where we need to go, and where we need to be, what the priorities are, right? I'm a big believer in reflecting and learning from history, learning from the past. As you're inventing the future, because I'm all about the future, I think it's really, really critical for us to learn from the lessons, whether it's successes or failures of the past. Those who ignore history, are essentially doomed when they're thinking about or building the future. So with that, the tweet chat that we had to commemorate the National Health IT Week was a great one, because I think it managed to go through a number of different really important topics. Starting first and foremost, really, with something that was, for many people, heart speak, right? What inspires you to work in health IT? Because we all have our personal stories around all of that. And then really going through the emerging trends and, policy, and, how do we make sure that we're really able to, create this future in healthcare that we know needs to be created. So awesome discussion.
Cool. Well, whenever my wife has a dinner party, she spends so much time figuring out who to sit next to who, in terms of hybridizing, interests, what their hobbies are and so forth. And so I'd actually Carl and you are both kind of into health IT workflow.
Yes.
And I was wondering if Carl, could you I started. I was about to ask you to describe a little bit of your background, and then Michael jumped on, and then kind of and so But now this is your opportunity. Rasu is a Chief Information Officer, I believe, at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. Michael, Health IT, social media, and knows a lot of people at the largest health information management systems professional society. And so, Carl, tell us a little bit about your background in light of maybe what you've heard so far here on this Fire Talk.
Well, I own a couple of software companies that have been in behavioral healthcare since 1990. And we make systems that are deployed in, I would say, smaller to medium-sized facilities. And basically, it covers all of the intake assessment, diagnosis, treatment, medications, ongoing monitoring. And we just recently incorporated, we use business process management as the foundation for the orders processing. So people build best practices, they roll them out, they stream patients onto these best practices. And what we've done recently is a bit late in getting into this, we put a portal together. We're getting a bit of echo here, but that's okay. Yeah, we built a portal that uses CEM, Customer Experience Management, as an overlay on the BPM. And so,
you sound. I can hear an echo coming from your end. I don't know, but I'm not hearing an echo in my.
Okay.
So you might just want to turn your volume when you're talking. Might just turn your volume down a little bit if it's interfering. Carl, you used a couple of what are called, I think, terms of art. These are special phrases that have specific meaning in vertical industries. And so you mentioned CM, case management,
no,
and
CEM,
BPM,
Customer Experience Management. CEM.
Okay, CEM.
Yes. And it's all done in case. In other words, you have the case runtime management, which lets you do BPM, structured activities, plus any mix of ad hoc activities, because the critique against BPM is it's too rigid, okay? And you can't possibly in medicine anticipate all possible eventualities. You'd have 10,000 workflows and you'd never ever get to the point where they covered everything you want to do. It's too restrictive. So we combine the case management, ad hoc interventions with the structured, and you can get any mix you like. And in fact, if you want to really talk about it, you can say, well, an intervention of ad hoc nature is really a process of one step. So everything is a process, and it lets you do work.
Carl, I love it. Could you explain, assuming that nobody knows anything about business process management or case management or customer experience management, what is BPM in a nutshell? What is BPM? What is CM? What is CEM?
Okay.
But we don't know anything.
Okay. Well, work typically has to be done in sequence or contemporaneously with other work. In other words, I put on my socks and then I put on my shoes. You don't have much choice there. But if you were dexterous, you could be putting on your one sock with one hand, adjusting your glasses, and then putting the shoe on. And then at the end of it, you have your glasses on as well as a shoe and a shoe. So doing things in parallel or doing things in series is what business process management is all about. You make a flow graph that says, first we do this, and then we do this, and then we do this. And what you're trying to do is to manage the who, what, when, where, and sometimes why. And so I'm trying to get orchestration out of process mapping that I do in advance, and then not be restricted by it at runtime, so I can have also ad hoc interventions. So you can do what you like. And if you think about the old paper charts, that's basically what you did. You opened it up and you had the history in reverse chronological order, And each new intervention has hopefully some reference to the previous one so that you don't repeat tests unnecessarily or do something that's contraindicated. So it's basically just electronic charting with resource allocation. So that's that.
Okay,
The
Carl,
CEM.
wait a minute. Wait, Carl. We are having some occasional cutting in and cutting out, and people are commenting about from you, which is, I caught a lot of it. I love the part about the socks and sequence and things happening in parallel, software to manage it. Rasu typed that, apparently things are improving a little bit. I'm watching. In the upper right, you see live chat and viewers. So we have 12 viewers, but if you click on live chat, you can see comments from the viewers. Rasu said he had to go in about 5 or 10 minutes. But I was a couple of years ago, Rasu and I actually interacted quite a bit about I believe it was a kind of a Microsoft workflow initiative at UPMC. Rasu is given what you may have heard from Carl and sort of my interest in workflow and workflow technology. Could you kind of give us a kind of a thumbnail sketch of kind of workflow technology initiatives at UPMC right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big believer, as you are, Chuck, on the importance of workflow, and I'm truly appreciative of all the work that you're doing with not just a loudspeaker, but I think hundreds of loudspeakers around you, just getting the word out and making sure that everyone's very cognizant on focusing on the criticality of getting the workflow right. It's not just about the data, it's not just about the platform, it's just not just about the technology. It really is, at the end of the day, about the workflow. So at UPMC, we've been doing a number of different things to that end, right? First and foremost, really, is more from a foundational perspective. How do we make sure that we have access to the right data elements, right? Because at the end of the day, you need the right ingredients as you're cooking up this meal that you might want to put in front of anyone who wants to consume this in healthcare. So the ingredients are really the data elements, right? Putting the right data elements together, connecting the dots across multiple different silos of information systems, structured, unstructured documents and notes, images, genomic information, now other types of information as well, like social determinants of healthcare, was something that came up in the pre-chat earlier. So how do we meld all of these data elements and then get meaning out of the data elements, right? So you talk about syntactic interoperability and semantic interoperability, right? The idea behind looking at the ontology structures, not just of the structured data elements, but also of the unstructured data elements, leveraging technologies like natural language processing. We're doing a lot of that at UPMC. And then connect the dots through and through so that you're then able to add a layer of intelligence and workflow on top of those data elements. You're sort of building it ground up, sort of foundational upwards. And that's where these newer models of value-based healthcare really, I think, come into play. That's a unique add-on that we're trying to put in place from a UPMC perspective, given that we're both a large provider organization. Carl, you're in New Zealand, so you might not know about us too much. We have over 20 plus hospitals, 62,000 employees, 3,800 physicians. But then we also have a fairly large payer or health plan, an insurance group that is part of our system. Right? So it's an integrated delivery, sort of yin and yang, as I call it. And as you're contemplating for the future of healthcare, what does it really look like? And we're talking about moving from volume to value. Part of what we're trying to do is we're saying, hey, look, we're living in that value-based healthcare environment in large parts already, perhaps a little ahead compared to other peers that we might have in the country. How do we algorithmize those value-based new care models and embed that into the workflow, embed that into the applications and solutions that we're creating? So that, in a nutshell, foundation upwards is sort of what we're doing.
And now, out of fairness, Michael, how are you? Are you still there?
I'm here.
I can hear you, but we were talking, so I don't know if you're still there because all I see is a profile picture. But how are you, Michael?
He's nodding away.
Wait, can you see me okay? Or
it doesn't. I can't see you, but maybe problems at my end. I can hear you good. I just, I just want to thank you for allowing me to have participated in this HitSim tweet chat in the role that I did, which I thought I would just basically be saying nice things about everybody, but instead I just, kind of devolved into workflow related stuff. But thank you very much, Michael. And you mentioned you weren't sure exactly when NHIT Week started, National, but how many years now have you kind of been actively instigating things?
You know me, always instigating.
Well, I have a question before you start. I want to ask you this, and that is it true that social media can help save the universe?
Mm-hmm.
But of course.
All right. I asked him that question and videoed it about 4 or 5 years ago to him. Anyway, inside joke. So how many years have you been in?
So I was speaking then. I mean, I hadn't, some
well,
of
no,
that.
That was a flaw in the video. It was a flaw in the video camera. That's why you look green in that video. So I'll find it and I'll post it in the lower right here. So anyway, how many years have you been instigating? And let's get you to, anything that you've heard so far or anything that's occurred to you that you'd like to get out there to all of 12 viewers.
So I've been at this almost 5 years now. I think, we've seen a big evolution in terms of, I think, just with this celebration, but also in health IT in general. I think each year we kind of have a new level of consciousness of what we need to do and where we need to go. And, I think every year we get better. It's incremental change. We do have some disruptions that happen along the way, but ultimately, we're all in this for the long haul. And thankfully our passion can get us, through the whole thing. So, I think my job has just been kind of trying to encourage and foster that, that excitement and enthusiasm from all of you guys. And, just kind of put it into something cohesive and coherent that the rest of the industry can use and understand and learn from. So that's pretty much all I've been seeing. And year after year, there's not much changing. Of course, the trends and the some of the focus areas change year to year. But, with legislation, policy, and new technology innovations, anything's up for grabs year after year. So we're just.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
We're gonna continue on the, I guess, talking about workflow. We have the same process. We're gonna keep doing it year after year, but ultimately, we'll just try to be responsive and respectful of, what's on your minds as experts in the industry. So I know that's a very non-answer answer,
Cool.
but that's kind of what we do here.
If this was Blab, I would make one of you co-hosts, and I would leave to allow someone to come aboard. But I think maybe Carl or Rasu, you said you had to go. And
I'm happy to step out to come in, but thank you. This is awesome. And
thank you, Rasu. And I look forward to doing more of these. Maybe you as the official. You have a channel now, right? And how do people find your Fire? It's firetalk.com/ what's your URL?
That's a great question.
It's probably if you accepted the default, you put it there. If you accepted the default, it's probably firetalk.com Rasu, whatever your Twitter handle is. That's probably what your Firetalk.
Probably Rasu. That's it. Yep.
Okay.
It is. Yep.
All right.
Before Rasu jumps off, I just wanted to say thank you again for everything you've done, Rasu, and I think we'll have more opportunities like these in the future, leading up to annual conference and some other activities. So I appreciate all the help and keep on trucking.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Rasu. Thank you, Rasu. Okay, we have an open spot here pretty soon, and basically whoever, I'm not going to pick anybody, but whoever clicks on the little camera in the lower right is going to win the horse race. And by
I hate
the way,
to say it, Chuck, I actually have to jump off. I've got another engagement in about 5 minutes, but thank you for kind of pushing me to adopt some of these video channels. I usually live behind the digital curtain a little bit, so. Before you go,
Gaspar on Saving Universe with social media on YouTube. And there it is. That's so if anybody wants to watch from like 4 years ago, your first video on social media, it's like a 1 minute long, and it's quite entertaining and fun.
And
thank you, Michael. And
disclaimer, quick disclaimer. You caught me in that video, I think, towards the end of the week of the conference. So I may not be at the top of my game.
That's okay. That's okay. This is. Do you remember the 1 minute interview I did with Tech Guy where he was asleep?
I don't.
I interviewed him while he was. I'll send that link to you. You'll find it kind of funny.
I'm sure John would love. I'm sure John would love to relive that.
I'm not sure. He's relived it many, many times because it comes up recurrently, but I'll send that to you.
Well,
but thank you, Mike. And someone else, come aboard. Let's see. We got 11 viewers here. Danielle, Chelsea, James, John Sharp, Mitch Harris, Don Lee. One of you needs to come aboard. Oh no, Carl just went away. Now this is not what I wanted. Someone join me, please. I don't want to talk to myself. I do that enough. I do that too much all the time. Okay, I'm gonna start picking on people. Invite guest. I'm just starting at the top of the list. Let's see, are these alphabetical? No, they're not. And we're down to 22 seconds to get Don Lee to join. Boom, 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 down to 15 seconds. If he doesn't say yes, I will try James, Mitch, John, Chelsea, Danielle. Of course, I'm gonna try Danielle next. And no, okay, so Danielle, I will invite guest. We're at 30 seconds. This is almost pathetic. Chuck, pleading. Anybody to come up. This one's a video. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello, Danielle. How are you?
How are you? I didn't want you to be alone.
So cool.
So.
I love it because we've interacted. Thank you. Yeah, I really did kind of tug on people's sort of.
Well, you know, a nurse is always willing to help.
We have, and you graduated recently. I saw some congratulatory, or you got a certification.
I graduated my master's.
Additional degree or something.
I graduated my master's in nursing informatics from UPenn.
Okay, that's right. So yeah, and I remember seeing the tweets, and we for the 10 viewers that we have, and this I believe is recorded. If you want to come back and grab it later or include it maybe in like a electronic portfolio or something. Danielle, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came into the Health IT social media community, and if you have a National Health IT Week related comment, tack that on as well.
Okay, sounds good. Back in 2012 or so, I was traveling in Europe. I was a trauma nurse for quite some time, and a friend of mine told me about HIMSS and that I should come to the conference in Las Vegas, and I was heading that way already, so I decided to come and discovered a whole new world and did some soul searching. And I had always been a travel nurse going to different hospitals, and I was like the go-to person for go lives. And so I decided to take it to the next level and go back to school and see what I could do with my past knowledge and my new education put together. And I discovered a whole host of new ideas and concepts that I didn't know existed. And I decided to add my travel into my life back once again. And I am one of the Who Hit ambassadors for be going to Spain in November, and I'll also be going to Oslo. So just piecing it all together.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to be a social media ambassador for HIMSS at Who Hit, and I created my own curation site. So I've been doing a lot of research and kind of using that piece of my education and a lot of people contact me trying to better understand what we're doing.
What's the URL? What's the URL, the web address of your curated content on the web?
I'll put it in the chat. Pardon my typing. I'll do that.
Super. It was Oslo, and by the way, anybody else that wants to come aboard, please come aboard. Mitch, John, Chelsea, all of you. Some of you have been on Blabs with before. You mentioned Oslo. Was it Oslo? And what was
So Oslo is the eHealth summit I'll be going to in November, and then the following week is Phuket. So I'll be traveling down to Barcelona for that. So I use a lot of Periscope.
Barcelona. Oh my God.
So I have a lot of friends there, so I'll be periscoping my adventures starting from Montreal to Reykjavik to Oslo to Barcelona. So that's November.
Well, I will be sure. I will be sure to mute. I pretty much everybody's on mute on Periscope because and I don't. But I will take your during those couple of weeks. Actually tweet me when you leave and those Periscopes start because I love Periscope. And I will I apologize. Everybody's sort of muted because otherwise it was just. But I will unmute you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Because yes.
There'll be a lot of.
Yeah. Well, when I say mute, I mean yeah, that'd be super.
So it'll be a good time. So I'm very excited.
So cool.
So taking it
That's
on the road.
Neat that here. Okay. We're just birds of a feather here. We're on video. You like Periscope? I love Periscope. Were you on Blab during the year that it existed?
I was able to go to a couple Blabs with Health IT Chicks. So I'm part of that group.
Okay. And did you appear? You took a seat in one of these Hollywood.
I did not. I sit in the background. So.
Okay.
This is my first.
So this is your first. So this is actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Besides Periscope, so most people probably haven't seen me unless you saw me at the conference. Probably the first time seeing me on video.
So what do you think of it so far?
I like it. It's a good venue. I always encourage other nurses to get to use technology, to use social media, and try and teach them how to use it so they can participate, so they have a voice. So
Right.
I can't tell other people you should do it and not show my face. So this is me practicing what I preach.
I wish Chelsea would come on. I'm going to invite her right now. I think the potential for this kind of technology in the patient community is quite evident from my watching Chelsea and Nikki and several other folks. They had a series called Psychedelic on Blab. Hello, Chelsea. How are you?
Good. I had actually requested to be on, and I think that you weren't seeing the request because Dawn actually requested it too.
Okay. Oh, I apologize. Well, okay. In a moment here, I'll introduce you folks to each other and the viewers, but I will go. I'm not seeing the request, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Dawn and invite him. Yeah. But I did invite him about 3 minutes
Danielle,
ago.
I want your life.
You know what? I'm more than happy to teach you how I did it. That's not a problem.
Well, I actually
just like you just did. You have to be brave and just go, hey, this is me, and I'm here, and let's make friends.
Well, I was actually in school for nursing, and then I got really sick, so I can't do it anymore. But I will live through you.
That's okay. We can share and learn together.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hello.
Dawn.
Nice to meet you guys.
Hey.
Chelsea, a couple of minute introduction, particularly the psychedelic stuff that you were doing. And then we'll get Dawn in there as well. But go ahead, Chelsea.
Yeah. So just to let you know, I'm only on because I am in between laundry loads. I actually have my computer sitting on top of my pile of laundry. So I am here in Minnesota. My friend Nikki and I were doing psychedelic chat on Blab before it died. I am a rare disease patient, and we got together and decided to do chats about stuff that would interest rare disease patients and patients who are chronically ill. And we were talking about things like pimp your gear, because we didn't want to have like old lady patient gray stuff. We wanted to have cool stuff to walk around with, and just stuff that was concerning to us as patients. And we're also kind of into tech stuff. I was actually in the tech field for about 15 years before I got sick. So that's my story.
Well, Chelsea, it's funny. I used to pop into the Sickabilly chats once in a while.
I think we might be having tech issues again because Chuck, your screen went to a little guy, and then Don, your screen went to a little guy too, and Danielle, I can see your eyes going back and forth. I know, it's crazy.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
So I'm sure that Chuck and Don might even be trying to talk, but I think we're having a lot of tech issues today.
Oh, okay.
So that always makes things more interesting.
Okay. Don, if you can hear, Don, can any of you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Chuck.
Either Danielle or Don.
I hear and see everyone.
Yeah, me too. I'm good.
Oh, okay. Now I hear you, Don, but I still don't hear anything from Chuck.
If Chelsea can hear Don, would you relay to Chelsea that I'm sorry she can't hear me? But
Chelsea, Chuck's very sorry you can't hear him.
I can't hear anything.
Okay,
should I do a little
Don, now,
always.
No. Well,
should I fold my laundry?
This is reminding me of Blab. This is like I'm back.
But then my computer
I'm back
will
in
start
Blab
going lower
land.
and lower.
Chuck,
Don, I'm gonna Chelsea. I'm gonna kick you off. I'm sorry. I just kicked Chelsea off because we were having problems at that end. And Don, in a moment, I'm going to ask you. Can you still hear me, Don?
Yeah, I'm good. I can hear you.
You hear me? Okay, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and tell us about your weekly YouTube live in a moment. But I want to invite someone, and if that person doesn't respond, then I'll go to the next person because I'm not seeing request. Apparently, I'm not seeing requests. Anyway, Don. Oh, by the way, Don, I have been interacting with FireTalk also through their support site about about free versus paid and so forth. I'm not sure if you've done so recently, but I do have a little bit of information. But first, Don, we have 9 viewers here, and of course we have Danielle and Chelsea. Maybe you could type whether you can hear us or not. Don, tell us a little bit about yourself and.
All right. Yeah. So I'm a health IT consultant. I've been basically building back end in to Chuck's favorite, a lot of workflow type systems for the last 15 years or so, and in the last year I have launched the HC Biz community, so the business of healthcare, and we're focusing on kind of trying to take the hype out of the conversations and say, these are the hot topics that people are talking about right now, and bring on experts that can help us break them down and say, why is this thing happening? What can we do about it? And how basically try to send people away with something very actionable from the show each week. I co-host that with Shahid Shah, very well-respected health IT expert across the country. And we've been doing it since right around HIMSS this past year. We're up to episode 29 this coming week. And we actually have a great guest coming up this week too. I've got Dave Chase coming on. He's going to be talking about his big heist film project. So I'm really excited about that. That'll be next Wednesday at noon Eastern. But yeah, love doing all the social media stuff with you, Chuck, and I've met some really great people doing all of this. And the tech challenges, I think, kind of make it fun, to be honest with you. Our show last week, the last one we did on Fire Talk, my audio wasn't working. Like I couldn't hear anybody on my side. So I actually had Shad call my cell phone. He had the phone down in front of him. I was listening to him on my cell phone and then talking to everybody else. That's how we worked around it. So it's always something, but you can make it go.
And by the way, Don, I was actually really impressed with your Grace Under Fire.
Thank you.
Fire Talk. So your audio wasn't working with your co-host, so you immediately got the cell phone and turned up the volume, and it actually, if someone had joined late, they wouldn't have known.
Yeah, you couldn't tell.
Super. Okay, and we got 9 viewers here, and I'm going to click on Mitch Harris and invite. He's from Boston.
We had a stimulating debate. Earlier question. I did get a little bit of feedback back from Fire Talk that there's going to be additional options coming. They didn't give me a ton of information or timelines, so we're testing out the YouTube Live platform, which went okay. I like this better. I like the 4 windows all at once instead of the one big and then a bunch of small ones. And I also, for some reason, I didn't realize this was going on. It wasn't promoting the speaker up to the big window in mine. So you basically have a half hour of Shahid's face and him talking last week. So we got to figure that out next. So,
okay, well, I extended an invite to Mitch. It timed out. I'm extending one right now to John. And I think that pretty much gives everybody's had an opportunity. Yeah, well, what my interactions with Fire Talk have been, Danielle, I and Dawn and some other folks, in fact, it was funny, I searched back through my Twitter feed for everybody who I'd interacted with about Blab, and I sent out a direct message, and it was like 45 people that I'd been, I had at one time or other last year I'd been on Blab with, and it's wonderful to put a face and a voice with a Twitter account, and missed it, and I forgot what I was going to say next. So I'm not a good host here because I'm losing my marbles.
You're doing a good job.
Danielle, how did you end up as social media ambassador and going to Europe? How did that happen?
Well, after I graduated, I decided to make the leap and left my previous role that was kind of getting me through school and said, I'm ready to do this and go all in. And sometimes you just have to let go of your security blanket and make the lily pad leap. I had did quite a bit of networking on LinkedIn, and one of my courses is actually on Twitter. So we had to create a Twitter account and communicate via Twitter. We had to create our own YouTube stations and do videos of ourselves learning about project management. So I learned to use all the different tools. And then what I decided was, I'm getting pretty good with Twitter. I know how to use these different things. I found other products like Zoom, which is kind of like Fire Talk where you can record and then peer in. So all these different communication tools, and figured, I know Europe really well. I know Spain especially. My Spanish is okay. And I'm going to go for it. So I wrote them, and they said, we'd love to have you. You have great credentials, and come on board.
So you're now this. I think I saw a kind of a request for people to apply to become a social media ambassador to these European. Was that what you responded to, or?
That's what I responded to, and I just did a little write up about myself. I took some of articles that I had wrote on LinkedIn. There's an article I did, like top 10 things you need to know or do for nursing informatics, and they looked at my background, and I travel quite a bit. I live in multiple locations, San Francisco, I'm here in Las Vegas, Montreal, and Paris. So I figured my French is kind of crappy, but my Spanish is good enough to get by. So why not? What do you have to lose? Sometimes you got to try.
Yeah.
Which group is that with that you're an ambassador for?
It's for the HIMSS Europe.
Okay.
The hashtag is the Who Hit.
Very cool.
So it'll be the World Health IT Conference that's happening in Spain. November in Barcelona. And then the week before, I'm going to, my adventure starts, I leave here and I go to Montreal, then Reykjavik, and from Reykjavik, Oslo, to the eHealth Summit in Oslo. And then I'll fly down to Barcelona. And then I'm going to Periscope the whole trip.
Very cool. Barcelona's awesome. I got the chance to go there a few years back. I loved it.
Yeah, so I know quite a few people there, and I know the area. So I haven't been able to travel because I was in school. So I get to see my friends after 3 years.
So
Nice.
So Danielle, will you have you sort of done your advanced planning relative to data plans and things like that, so that you can Periscope? Have you done any research? I'm curious.
Well, I've been there before, so I know what I have to do to get I have extra like iPhones and different things, so I have some that are jailbroken. I'm not.
So if you had practical advice to someone who's going to Europe and they want to Periscope, which of course uses a lot of data, What's your advice?
My two options, usually in the past, and technology moves so fast. In the past, I would always just get a chip in the phone in town or get a chip at the train station. But I was researching the other day, I think I can buy them before I go and have them set up. So when I arrive to Reykjavik, when I arrive to Oslo, I already have a chip with my data in place. So then I can immediately start filming.
Have you found data performance, I don't know, bandwidth, better or worse than in the United States?
They really, when I started going 10 years ago, they were kind of ahead when it came to using text messages, because the countries, even though they're close, I would have to get a different number for each one, or it was like huge data overages. So it's just cheaper just to get a chip and get it loaded with the data I need so I can text and do what I need to do and go. So it's much easier and faster, or even buying a cheap phone. But now with the iPhones, different smartphones, you can just put your chip in or just get it unlocked and go.
So so then do you still get like a certain amount you prepay for, or is it unlimited?
Yeah, yes.
What are the
I'm going to do
plans?
a prepaid amount and have it all set up before, and just do as much as possible. Then if I need to.
Okay, so given you kind of know roughly how many gigabytes you'll use if you're periscoping for a certain amount, how many gigabytes are we talking about here?
I'm just going to tell them to load it up, and then there's usually like a number you can call if you need more. So I just load up as much as possible.
So
I say
so
I mean, like
20 gigabytes. No, not the amount. I'm just kind of like, I'm trying to remember. Like when on my phone, even though I have an unlimited plan, it has this graph, and it shows me like, okay, we're 10 days into this period and you've used 10 gigabytes. Okay. And I noticed that when I went to Periscope, then I had to move to an unlimited plan. And so, now I'm not periscoping as much, but when I was periscoping quite a bit, I was using like 20 gigabytes a month.
It uses a lot of data.
Is that kind of what?
It uses a lot of data, but there's a lot of places that have Wi-Fi. So at the conference, it will be an issue with Wi-Fi, and in the small village that I go to, it's not an issue with Wi-Fi. A lot of cafes, a lot of places have Wi-Fi. So it's just only when I'm like out in the street. Okay. So it's not that bad.
Okay. No, cool.
But 20 gigabytes is rational.
Don.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Don. Yeah. So are you are you periscoping recently? And you done anything?
I haven't.
Or you've done some investigation, I know, of different platforms for social video relative to your series. Do you have any interesting?
No, honestly, I never really got into Periscope. I tried it a few times. Just where I had opportunity to film something cool that I was doing. I had the family down in Disney World. I did the Osborne Christmas lights down there. And just a couple of different random things like that, but I've never really gotten into it. As far as the show goes, I'm really just trying to find something that works as well as Blab did for us. So we're just continuing to experiment right now, and on YouTube Live. And that's what we're running with for the next little while.
Well,
Talk will come out with something that helps.
By the way, I just got a direct message from M. Sharmas, who's in India, and I invited him to come aboard, and he says he can't for whatever reason, but he's saying that we're just having an amazing discussion. So isn't that cool? We had someone from New Zealand, someone from India. We're talking about being a social media in Europe, and so this is so neat. I'm sorry that Blab went away, but I am glad that Fire Talk seems to be paying attention to its monetization strategy, as long as it can come up with a tier. Because if we get back to, I think Daniel might be interested in this as well. So we searched around and landed on Fire Talk as being most similar that I'd come across to Blab. And there was a paid for and a paid for event, meaning the host doesn't pay for it, but you buy tickets. Okay, and then, of course that makes sense if you're a musician, for example. I could see that, but I don't really see sort of IT social media like swiping a credit card. to participate in this weekly. But what I suggested to them was that I'd be happy to pay 10 or 20 bucks to, you know, to subsidize tickets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, basically, you know, the first 20 who show up, but I'd love to have a discount, you know, and however they want to amortize across all the different sort of patterns of Fire Talk use. But I'd be willing to pay. You know, I pay 10 or 20 bucks for other social media services a month, and they kind of went. They said, well, they said thank you very much, and they didn't say whether that's in fact what was going to happen, but they did say that they were talking about multiple tiers.
Yep.
And so I'm hoping, you know, that one of those tiers is going to be what I just described. So, because I think, wouldn't that work for you as well, potentially, Don?
Oh yeah, I would definitely consider it. If it, you know, it's a good match for what we're trying to do. And if you think about what they are trying to think of monetization right now, is they're just shaving a few pennies off the top of each dollar that you charge, and then of course Stripe's going to get some, and then you're going to get the remainder of it. So if you don't care about making any money, I don't think. Unless their arrangement makes them care what Stripe gets, they probably don't care what Stripe gets, and they could just figure out what's that average of a successful show that they're trying to accomplish. How much are they making on it? And we make those other tiers kind of work the way you just described. Say, okay, 20 bucks and you can run a show, 20 bucks a month and you can run 4, whatever makes sense.
Right. Well, Don, since you're already interacting with them through Fire Talk support, why don't you make your pitch as well? Because I think the more people that you know, that say this, the more likely they're going to come up with a tier that would just work for all of us, including you, Danielle. By the way, I need to do this while people are. I don't actually have to wait to it, but I'm clicking on profiles, and I'm going to Danielle, and you already. Okay, I must already subscribe to you. I'm just making when I look at the list of folks. It doesn't always give me an option to subscribe, but I just want to make sure that, okay. Let me ask you, Danielle, when you joined, did you create a channel? What's called a channel?
No, I didn't create
a
channel.
Which is
I just said sign up and then pick your Twitter or GChat or something like that. So I just did Twitter and it put me in.
Sure. Okay, I believe if you go, if you go over and you click on the profiles, you'll see that there's an opportunity to subscribe for some of them, and those are the folks who have created a channel. And so I can't subscribe to you until you create a channel. And what what happens then is if you go live or you schedule an event, I believe I get a notification. So it's a way for me to follow you. So I encourage everybody to create a channel, and then send me a link. Because I can't really follow your profile. I can follow your channel, but not your profile. So if you're, so that's my. And by the way, what do you think? If you click on my, I know this is getting random here, but if you click on my profile, what do you think about my little miniature schnauzer on my shoulder, staring into the selfie camera? Sorry. I'm running out of things to say here, folks. I don't want to keep anybody past their bad time. Dan, since nobody else is going to come on, Danielle, Don, do you have any sort of? Thank you very much. I love the way that he's like really going. What the heck are you doing? He's leaning there, you know, and literally he's like a little mountain goat. Like he'll literally, I mean, because I let him, he'll actually crawl on my head. He'll actually stand on my head like this, like a mountain goat. Okay, if I let him. Okay. Well, this was an experiment. It was partly an opportunity to sort of celebrate the National Health IT Week tweet chat that was going on. It's partly to experiment and find these platforms. Like I said, when I DM'd people, I found 45 people that I had blabbed with over last year. So those are people who I have a sense of their personality. The kind of some empathic dimensions that I don't always get with Twitter. And so that's my purpose here. And I've kind of run out of words or ideas. But Danielle, do you have any sort of parting thoughts on anything at all in the universe?
Sure. This was great. I'm glad I came in and was brave and said, okay, I'll show up and pay attention and become part of the community. And I'm really glad that I did. So I'm glad that you encouraged us to come on and say hi and to share. And everybody check me out on WhoHip and Periscope and say hi.
Yeah, and I will look forward to. In fact, I will. If I'm not, I'm sure I'm following you on Periscope, but I'll double check that. Thank you, Danielle. And now, Don, do you have any? I was about to say famous last words, but that's not.
That sounds great.
Last
No,
thoughts.
just always a pleasure
Yeah,
catching up
relative
with you,
to this
Chuck.
segment.
I have a lot of fun chatting with you. So thanks for doing this, and glad I could jump on for a bit. Danielle, it was awesome to meet you, and have a great trip. Sounds like you got a pretty exciting adventure coming up.
I'm going to try and make it exciting as possible for everybody.
There you go.
Interactive, get me to go to certain places and show you things.
Bye-bye.
So I do my best.
All right, great. You guys
Thanks,
have
everybody.
a good day.
Okay. Yeah. Don't trip don't trip while you're periscoping, because that would be exciting, but we don't want that to happen.
I'll do my best.
All right, I'll see you later.
Bye-bye,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone.